Humble beginnings. My story, my testimony.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What another lovely, beautiful moment that God has graciously given unto us. You know what? The Bible says time and chances are granted by the Lord. We thank God for this other beautiful time God has given unto us. And thank you, our wonderful viewer, for tuning for this lovely program that I know it has been touching you and impacting life. Thank you for tuning. And if it has been lifting you, kindly let somebody else know and also be blessed and be lifted as you are. It is your host, Bishop Dr. Ken, of your wonderful program entitled Humble Beginning, My Story, My Testimony. You know what? You cannot differentiate. You cannot separate your story with your life. Your story is your life. And I want to thank God because in the studio I've been having wonderful guests who have been coming and sharing together with us. They share about their life. And I know a time is coming, God granting us a chance. We also have an opportunity to host you, and you also come and tell us what the Lord has been doing in your life. You know, all of us, we have a testimony. We are created and brought up in different ways. And where we are, it is an encouragement to somebody tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning. May the Lord God bless you. We are praying for you even in this difficult time, this epidemic time. No, most of you are in your homes, and it's good even when you are resting in your home to tune into this. And also when you see it, share with a friend who can also tune in and become impacted. Thank you so much. May the Lord God bless you. I welcome you warmly with both hands, and may God bless you. And today, we are not left behind. We are blessed. We are graced to have a certain man of God who I love and I respect, a man who has devoted himself to serve the Lord. And today he has not come with a Bible.
Yes.
He said he has not come to preach.
Yes.
He has come to give us a testimony.
True.
Thank you so much. I welcome you, Reverend Njenga,
Thank you,
to
sir.
the studio with both hands. I welcome you.
Thank you, sir.
May God bless you.
Thank you, my
They
bishop.
have said that we greet one another
Yes,
like
yes,
this.
it's enough.
Because seasons have changed.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. May the Lord God bless you.
Amina.
I know viewers are seeing you. And let me begin by giving you an opportunity. 1 minute, you have your own camera here. Greet your viewers
Sure.
who are watching you.
Thank you.
And they are ready for you.
Thank you so much, my bishop. And I thank God for this opportunity. And I bless the Lord for you and the church you are leading and what you are doing in our community. I'm Reverend John Njenga Kamau of Kenya Redeemed Church. And the Kenya Redeemed Church is along Kabiria Road at a place called Kwamaji. I'm the presiding pastor there. By the grace of God, I also happen to be the general secretary of the larger church, the Kenya Redeemed Church in Kenya. And I thank God so much that I am here in this wonderful place, the Look Up TV. This is a new phenomenon that is really reaching a lot of our people. Thank you so much, my bishop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What an honor to have you.
Asante.
I know that the men of God are usually busy.
Sure.
I guess I tumeambiwa kaa nyumbani.
Work at home.
Or you aren't safe.
Yes.
Safety, I know you are at home.
Yes, I'm
together
really,
with your family.
I'm really relaxing at home.
Yeah.
Praying, thanking God, and even happy that I'm here at such times.
Yeah.
Because we have never had seen such times. And even in our preaching, now we will be knowing what we are talking about in future. So despite the negative side of the whole thing, it's also an eye-opener of that, what we preach and what we read in the past.
Yeah.
So we are keeping distance, we are keeping safe, and we are obeying every rule by the government.
It's true. Actually, we are telling everybody to obey every rule.
Sure.
For personal good and also for the good of
nation.
others.
Sure.
We thank God.
Amen.
So now when we hear Reverend Njenga, people asking, did he fall from the sky or
Yes.
where was he born? Yeah, where Reverend Njenga was born. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you so much. Reverend Njenga was born in 1968
Thank you.
at a place called Elbagon in Rift Valley.
Mahali kwa viazi.
Mahali kwa viazi. Maisha gorofu. And that is the place my parents were living. But we shifted in 1971.
Okay.
We got a land in Nyandarua, a place called Bushi Kiambogo. That is the place I grew up. We shifted in 1971, so I was still young. I don't know much about Lift Ferry, but I know much about now Nyandarua. And when we shifted, my father came to work in Nairobi.
Okay.
And left my mother at Nyandarua. And immediately he married a second wife.
Oh.
So I was brought up by my mother single-handedly. And I did not see my father from that 71 when I was less than 3 years until 78.
Wow.
When I was in class 3.
Long time.
That was my first time to come to Nairobi. And I came to where he was living with the other wife. And the story was not so sweet as we grew up. And he did not come home until 1984. From 71 to 84, he never came to Nyandarua.
Wow,
So even my mother was because she was born again, a leader in the PCA church. She would just go, and you know how they used to give the testimony, I am called Naomi Wairimo, or Afauro Kamau. But the Afauro Kamau, nobody knew him in that place. Nobody even knew my mother had a husband. So we grew up in that very tight situation. We were educated in such tight situation. Ordinarily, my dad concentrated on the second wife in Nairobi and forgot about us. But by the grace of God, we grew. I went to Kiambogo Primary School. I went to Geta Secondary School. My secondary school was even tough because I was going 10 kilometers in the morning by foot and 10 kilometers in the evening.
In the evening?
Yeah. The whole of Form 1.
20 kilometers
per day.
Per day.
And when I got to Form 2, my mother saw that I was really suffering. With her little income, she would go to sell charcoal. She would carry a bag of charcoal, you know, from the place we normally make charcoal. So it was still burning. My mother would carry charcoal, and it would burn on her back. Wow. So with that struggle, she decided to get a house for me near the school.
Yeah.
And the house was costing 30 bob per month. That is 1 shilling per day. and it was being closed because of lack of land. So and she would give me 20 bob on Sunday, which I would use the whole week, Monday to Friday. So I grew up Form 2, Form 3, Form 4. I did so well. I had, that is the time we were going up to Form 6. So I got second division. So I qualified to go to Form 5. But I could not because my mother was completely exhausted. There is no help from my dad. And even she would come from Nyandarua to come and get school fees for me. And she would be returned home. Bus fare was 20 bob from Nyandarua to Nairobi. Na kulikuwa na that 20 bob ya pound ya blue. You remember that one?
Yeah.
So she would be given to go back without school fees, without even bread, and she would come back. So she struggled, but she remained faithful with her husband. And she would always mention Paulo Kamau everywhere.
Wow.
In her testimony, she would always recognize, and she was a wonderful soul. So I decided not to go on with education. I went to college. I did clearing and forwarding. By then I had gotten saved. I came from secondary in 1987, so 88 I got saved. I hated salvation because my dad was very much saved. And now comparing what he was doing to my mother, I hated salvation. So, but by the grace of God, one morning when I was sweeping, we were living at Kasarani. After I came out of secondary, I came to live with my dad with a lot of struggle. And one morning when I was sweeping the floor or the building, there was a place we had some sheep. So I was the one who was sweeping in the morning. Then I had a voice telling me, you are surrounded by hot water and you are not bathing.
Wow.
So when I went to church that morning, I did not wait for the preacher to call the altar call. I before the preacher started preaching, I lifted up my hand and I took myself to the
Hallelujah.
pulpit.
That's
I
great.
gave my life to Christ in
Awesome.
1988. And from then, I have enjoyed salvation. And I have grown step by step from an interpreter in the church, from to a church elder, to a pastor, now a reverend. I think that is my condensed story. It is so huge. And even to the latter part of my years, my story is a huge story. But I thank God for the humble beginnings. And I like the title of your program. It is very, very practical.
Yeah, actually, all of us, actually, I would say almost all of us, we began humbly.
Sure.
And then God has worked our way up, and we thank God.
Amina.
Now, when you finish college and you came to Nairobi,
Yes.
What did you begin to do?
I started selling mutumba. My dad had a place for selling mutumba at town center, Tusker House. He was the foreman at the Tusker depot for the Kenya breweries. Nowadays it is called Shanda stalls at the center, just next to bus station. So with my stepmom, we were selling mutumba. So I would sell mutumba during the day, and in the evening I go to college for my course. And I was being paid 600 by my dad. And that 600 was my fee to college. He would not pay for me. And that was my bus fare going home in the evening. In the morning I would come with him. I sell mutumba the whole day, go to college at 4, leave at 7 and go home. So I did that. 1989, I left. I went to Mombasa for attachment. And I worked there for 1 year. And then I came back to Nairobi. I was employed by a Muhindi. The company was called the Coastal Clearing Company. And I was being paid 900 per month. Wow. So I worked for 1 year, and he increased my salary to 1,000. And then 91, I moved from Coastal Company. I went to work with another company for clearing and funding also. And I was being paid 1,100. That 100 made me move because it was an increase.
Yeah.
So I moved, but I was still living at my father's place.
Yeah.
So I was not paying house rent. And now bus fare in the morning, I was getting relieved. So I started now growing. And the same year, 91, I married. I married when I was 23 years.
Wow, young.
So, and my wife, Margaret, and by 92, we got a child. I am one of the few who did not live alone in my life.
Yeah.
So I shifted from my father's house on Friday evening. I went to the new house that I would be living. And Saturday I went to church. I came back with a wife. So I've never known what to live alone.
It's transition from parent to living with your wife.
Exactly. And we have lived together. We are blessed with 3 boys. All of them now are mature. The last born is 19 years.
Beautiful.
And I thank God for the far we have come. So that is how I came. Then in 1994, I shifted now from Kasarani and came to Setrite to live here. So Setrite, I was from the Christian Outreach Ministries. But when I came here, there was no such branch. So we shifted on an evening of Saturday. And on Sunday morning, I told my wife, let us go to look for a church. And the first church we shall enter, we shall remain there.
Yeah.
As long as it's a Pentecost church. So I was living at Kwamaji down there, a place called Kiadabao. And in the morning I took my son. We had only one son by then, that is 94. And we came to the road and turned right as you go to Kabiria. And we got a church that had just been established 2 months. And we entered there. And from then, I've never come out of that church.
You remain there. And
So
now God grounded you
grounded
there.
me there. I didn't know what God had kept for me in that church. And it was a very boring church. Very, very boring. Because it was, by 9, I had come from a vibrant church in Kasarani, whereby I was an evangelist, I was an interpreter. But I come here, I find church is not beginning until 11. And I'm in church at 9. So I would sit and wait and wait and wait. My wife would tell me, tuhame hii kanisa. And she went and saw a full gospel and a KAG church around the peak place. She told me there is a good church up there.
I know it. Yeah.
To talk here. Then I told her, by the grace of God or by the revelation of the Holy Spirit, we will remain here. We are the people to change this church. Because if we move and the people will come moving, it will never grow. I didn't know that I was building a future for us. So I stayed there. I stayed 7 years without doing anything. I was just seated. I remember I was an evangelist. I was an interpreter. But I accepted to sit and wait upon the Lord. So from now, after 7 years, I would be given a chance to pray. I would pray. I would beat drum, ile koroga, and then I would once in a while be given a chance to read the praise. So by and by, one day I was given a chance to minister, and the pastor said there is something inside this person. But we did not go very far with the pastor, because the pastors then were so much into the doctrine of the kitaba, guamurefu, and we wasted a lot of time. That is how our church dragged, and not only our branch, but Kenya Redeemed. Because when other churches like the Redeemed Gospel started after Kenya Redeemed. Because Kenya Redeemed started in 1972.
Wow, it's a long time.
Redeemed started at 1976. So 4 years we were existing. But right now, Redeemed Gospel is known more than Kenya Redeemed.
That's true.
Because of that problem of doctrine. So we went by and by trying to change, and we could not agree. And people would come and go, We had a lot of cases until around 2004. That is when he started another branch. He left this one, and we were left without a pastor. I stayed there as an elder, as a leader of the other elders, and then I was made the pastor. That is how I became pastor.
I like this. This is what we call humble beginning.
It is really humble.
My story, my testimony.
It is really humble.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, before coming back to the ministry, when you left the job you were employed and you went to where you got an increment of 100, did you do any other job, or after quitting there you went to the ministry? You never did any
No. Even when I was in the ministry, I continued doing my work or working as an employed person, and would devote a lot of my time to church. And by the time I was, from 2002, God started blessing me in my place of work. So I became like the financier of the church. So to an extent that I would get money. I remember we didn't have a gate in the church. So I would tell the pastor, I will make a gate. Get the quotation, I will pay. So I did not look at what others are giving. I would give because I have. So the gate was costing 58,000. And that is in 2002. That was a lot of money. So I would finance. Then we didn't have a keyboard and an amplifier. And by then, God had blessed me with a car. So I sold that car, and the 10% of the proceeds, I bought a keyboard and an amplifier for the church. And I was doing this not because I had any ambition of becoming a pastor. My ambition was completely different. Because as early as 2002, born again, spirit-filled, I vied for a parliamentary seat in our place. So my line was not in the ministry at all. I remained saved, but I did not foresee any day I'll be a pastor. But being an elder of the church, supporting the church, I was very good.
You fight for parliamentaries?
Yes, in Kipipiri.
In Kipipiri.
In 2002.
In 2002.
Yes.
Wow.
And after that, I have filed 4 other times. Yes.
Wow. We want to hear more of that because when we are out, we are reaching many people. We're even trying. They have even some have tried, and when they did not make it, they lose heart. But it is good not to lose heart.
Sure.
Our wonderful viewer, we are getting impacted. We are running more through this testimony of this wonderful servant of God who has visited us. We are going a short break, and then we are coming back shortly. Don't tune, just stay there. God bless you.
Humble beginnings. My story, my testimony.